朋友们，马来西亚总理安华最近力挺中国武统的视频火了。这个视频精华片段我放在节目后半段，大家等会儿可以欣赏一下。8月16号，马来西亚总理安华接受半岛电视台专访，节目主题是变化中的世界，全球权力之争。当印度裔的主持人非常挑衅地问及台湾问题时，安华明确表态，台湾是中国的一部分，因此他拒绝谴责中方，不承诺放弃使用武力的立场。与此同时，安华还以本国国情举例直言，如果马来西亚任意一个州谋求分裂独立，他同样会毫不犹豫地动用武力，坚决捍卫国家主权和领土完整。采访中，他很不满对方傲慢愚蠢的态度，出言讽刺媒体的双标本质，直言你们这些媒体每逢提及中国议题时就非常的虚伪。这话直接把对面的阿三怼得无话可说。我看安华全程其实都在努力压制怒火，要不是碍于总理的身份，估计他恨不得亲自动手暴揍这个喜欢搬弄是非的阿三。安华这一番打破西方舆论话术的直白发声狠狠戳痛了岛内的势力。采访结束仅仅2天，台湾所谓外事部门就匆忙地发布抗议声明，拒不承认台湾是中国的一部分，还虚伪讽刺安华自诩民主人权捍卫者，理应遵从所谓普世价值。声明末尾更是试图摆出威胁姿态，妄言安华坚定支持一个中国原则的立场，或将冲击台商在马来西亚的投资信心，影响当地台资布局。看似强硬的警告，实则彻底暴露了台湾如今手中无牌、底气耗尽的窘迫处境。客观来看，台商在马来西亚的确存在着一定的产业布局，槟城等地也聚集了不少从事半导体封装、电子代工的台资企业，部分企业单次投资规模可达数亿马币。但这些投资在马来西亚庞大的资本格局中根本不具备不可替代性。中国大陆的资本、日韩产业资本、中东海外资本随时可以无缝补位，完全不存在非台资不可的情况。2025年中马双边贸易额高达1916亿美元，中国连续17年稳居马来西亚第一大贸易伙伴。深度绑定的经贸格局注定马来西亚根本不可能为区区岛内势力牺牲核心的国家利益。台湾拿所谓台商信心来制造威胁，对吉隆坡而言终究只是一句无关痛痒的屁话。对比近几年的公开表态，我们能清晰地看出安华在台海议题上的认知和立场其实已经发生了根本性的转变。2024年3月，安华在墨尔本东盟峰会间隙受访时，虽然认同一个中国政策共识，但当时的态度相对保守，并不会预判中国大陆会以武力方式推进统一。彼时他的立场是中立观望的不预测，而如今他的态度已然完成了完全共情，彻底理解中国立场。他不再纠结大陆是否会动武，而是直接从主权国家的底层逻辑出发，佐证中国动武统一的绝对正当性。没有任何一个主权国家会容忍自身领土分裂、主权受损，维护统一本就是所有国家的生存本能。安华立场的彻底转向并非一时心血来潮，而是利益绑定和认知升级双重作用的必然结果。从现实利益来看，中马经贸纽带持续深化，安华任内4次访华，两国正式共建中马命运共同体。中国大陆也始终是马来西亚最核心、最稳定的经贸合作伙伴。台湾地区从未进入马来西亚的合作重点视野，马来西亚自然没有任何靠拢偏袒岛内势力的利益动机。而从战略认知来看，安华近年来始终主动跟西方刻意塑造的反华叙事划清界限，多次公开批评西方对中国崛起的病态抵触心理，呼吁国际社会正视接纳中国成长为超级大国的客观事实。长期深度的对华交往让安华这一辆东南亚务实政治家也彻底看清真相，中国的统一进程并不像西方渲染的那般妖魔化，充满对抗色彩。所谓武力威胁，只是西方抹黑中国干涉台海的虚假话术。实打实的经贸力给了安华坚定对华表态的动机。 清醒独立的战略认知给了他直面西方舆论压力的底气。仅靠经贸力他只会维持晚年中立观望的圆滑态度，而彻底扭转的认知让他敢于把主权国家有权武力捍卫统一的真相当众摆在国际舆论台面之上。这一次安华的公开表态也彻底撕开了台湾赖以生存的国际假象，暴露出其系统性的外交困境。长久以来，台湾所谓的国际空间完全依托两大支撑，一个是美国及其价值观盟友的刻意扶持，其二是广大中立国家在台海议题上的沉默回避。时至今日，西方盟友的表面支持仍然在，但全球尤其是东南亚国家的沉默共识正在被彻底打破。越来越多的东南亚务实国家看清局势，公开坚守一个中国原则是零成本的正确选择。疏远岛内分裂势力不掺和台海闹剧是低成本的务实外交。安华的发声等同于替全世界的主权国家正面敲定了中国武力统一的正当性。这也直接让西方多年以来的反华话术彻底失效。西方是否反对，是否炒作台海议题实际意义正在持续的弱化。无论西方如何抹黑施压，都改变不了一个既定事实：中国周边乃至全球多数国家已经默认台湾问题就是中国的核心内政，任何外部势力无权干涉。这种地缘认知的集体转向，才是台湾和西方势力最恐慌的深层变局。未来一旦台海有事，愿意跟随西方对华实施孤立制裁的国家，会远远少于他们的预判。对西方而言，这种全球地缘共识的彻底偏移，或许是比解放军军机军舰常态化巡航更加棘手，也更难逆转的深层危机。
Much of the world recognizes Taiwan as part of China, so do you.
If you accept Taiwan to be part of China,
yes,
you can express your views for or against, but it is a part of China, and the Chinese have to decide. Why?
But China has said that if peaceful reunification doesn't work, they reserve the right to use force. If it comes to that, would you condemn that?
I always take Malaysia as an example. If one province decide to break away, do we use force? I think I will protect the sanctity and unity of the nation.
So you would use force?
Yes. Because otherwise to be fragmented.
In this region, China is the big power. But it appears to have divided Southeast Asian countries because each of you have individual deep trade ties with China. So you have a situation, sir, where some of your neighbors are saying they're fighting rising Chinese territorial aggression. But you say the Chinese threat is Western phobia. It's not a serious threat.
Well, it is Western phobia because you talk to the West, the only issue they raise is South China Sea and they perceived Chinese aggression. I say from my experience, not only Malaysia but also in ASEAN, the engagement continues. In fact, we have called for the inclusion of the Code of Conduct, which was not initially agreed upon, but now the Chinese have considered.
But you say Western phobia. Your own foreign ministry described Chinese aggression as a serious threat to Malaysia's sovereignty after China sent fighter jets over your waters in 2021.
Yes. That's all that we say. That's what happened. But
that doesn't sound like Western phobia. That sounds,
no,
that's
Western
your own government.
Phobia, because they have been harping on this on a daily basis and in every meeting. And I'm saying, other than that, once we did object or protest, they stopped.
So you're saying that you found it as a one-off, but your own neighbors don't seem to agree. The Philippines defense minister said in May this year that China's expansionism is unabated. We are in for a long time struggle.
Well, I agree in the sense that Philippines is quite an exception because they continue to have issues, but they raise and always there is an engagement. This is not, you're not talking about Gaza or Ukraine. This is continued negotiations and engagement between these countries. The Philippines, because the claims, it's more contentious, the area in question. And we have always called consistently for negotiations to take place. But it doesn't happen as is promoted by the Western media. I hope not Al Jazeera, but
No, I'm only citing your own. I'm not. These are not Western
but it's out of
sources. These are your own neighbors.
No. We have problems with all our neighbors. We have with Thailand. Why is it not an issue? We have problems, contentious claim with Singapore, with Brunei, with a maritime country.
Of course, you're right. All neighbors have differences. The difference with China is that China is the only one that literally claims all of the South China Sea as part of its territory.
But they're negotiating.
I know, but I'm saying it's that claim which sets it up as a basis for a lot of conflict.
But there's no aggression thus far.
Why is it then, sir, that it's not just the Philippines, it's Vietnam, it's Japan,
Yes.
it's even Australia, it's India in another geography.
Even Malaysia. We do have issues. We engage. My point is no aggression. Is no show of force or military or perceived attacks. So once a note was sent, they took off the seat. As long as it's not a withdrawal of their claim.
Okay.
So why do you make it as if it is a real aggressive and contentious and...
No, I'm not making it. I'm just citing your own foreign ministry.
Yeah, but
can I ask you this? That some would argue that Prime Minister Ibrahim is being somewhat soft on China because they're your largest trading partner.
I'm soft with all my neighbors, with China, with the United States. What do you do with Gaza? But at the same time, you do express views, either privately or publicly, on these issues. Like the South China Sea, we expressed. We were very...
So trade is not a factor. It's not because of the high volume of trade between you and China that you downplay the Chinese threat.
We have high volume, highest with the United States. Number 1 is United States. Number 2 is Germany. Number 3 is China.
Would you say, though, coming back to my point about ASEAN, the idea of a group of small middle powers acting as a counterweight to China, that you see these divisions, you have a different view, your neighbors have a different view.
Why counterweight against China?
Let me finish the question.
Why not counterweight against America or India?
I'm asking only about the region at the moment. Much of the world recognizes Taiwan as part of China, so do you. But you're seen as someone who stands up for democracy, for people's aspirations. Does the will of the Taiwanese people not count? Because poll after poll shows they overwhelmingly do not want to be ruled by Beijing.
That's antecedent of history. If you accept Taiwan to be part of China,
yes,
you can express your views for or against, but it is a part of China, and the Chinese have to decide. Why this hypocrisy and contradiction? I see Taiwan as part of China, period. We may disagree with some excesses. Yes, express your view. But it must be in that context. It is one China. It's accepted by all.
You don't see the complexity there with Taiwan. You're someone who's very, very much a committed Democrat. Don't you feel somewhere, officially you might say that they're part of China, but don't you feel as a leader, as a Democrat, some empathy for that sentiment?
No, of course.
And
I do express empathy in many other issues. Since you're not asking it. I mean, so many other areas, empathy, the issues, religious issues, regional issues, tribal issues, in all these countries, even in Malaysia. Do you have views, conscience? Yeah, of course. But what you're suggesting is a way, a complicity or even condoning an attempt to break up a legitimate independent country. And I don't accept that. The only reason why these things crop up is because of antecedent history of a colonial past. And I am not in any way condoning colonialism.
No, it's not just a colonial framework, is it, Prime Minister? Because the Chinese themselves talk of reunification. If they are indeed one entity, then you won't need to reunify. But if, as the Chinese have said...
Because the Seventh Fleet, my dear.
Okay.
That's why they talk about reunification.
Okay, you're bringing in the American angle. But China has said that if peaceful reunification doesn't work, they reserve the right to use force. If it comes to that, would you condemn that?
I always take it as a Malaysia example. If one province decide to break away, do we use force? I think I will protect the sanctity and unity of the nation.
So you would use force?
Yes. Because otherwise to be fragmented. What are you suggesting? I mean, to me,
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just asking questions, which is my job as a journalist.
Yeah.
There are, as you know, there have been movements for independence.
But to me, when it comes to China, it's always this, I should say, not ambivalence. Ambivalence is a light word.
Okay.
But it's hypocrisy. We don't talk about, many countries in Europe breaking up, or within the United States, or within Africa, or even within other regions. But
All
you
of that
focus only on China.